Welcome to Shaq's house. Shaq's house. That's our Shaq. You're now in Shaq's house. Shaq's house. Shaq. Welcome to Shaq's house.
What's up, Shaq Housers? How you doing? It's your boy, the one and only Shaq House here. I hope your week went well, and I hope your week is going well right now. Check this out. For today's edition of Shaq House, we're going to be talking about mutants who can manipulate electromagnetism or the electromagnetic spectrum in some fashion. And while that's related to people like Magneto and Polaris, and we will be delving into them a little bit for comparison, it's more along the lines of the people that you'll see below in the description. Yes, some of them are obscure characters, one of which is very obscure. He only appeared in 3 issues entirely. But check it out. Mutants and electromagnetism. I hope you enjoy. Comment, subscribe, etc., etc. Phantazia. Phantazia's mutant ability gives her power over electromagnetic harmonics. She is capable of sensing the presence of various forms of energy in her environment, including detecting electronic systems and the atmospheric distortion that signals a teleportation effect. When in her power signature's field, Phantazia is capable of levitation and drapes herself in a large cloak, leaving the impression that there's no body underneath. It seems that she may be able to partially transform herself into an electromagnetic energy form, but why it only happens from the neck down isn't clear. In active use, Phantazia's power can be used to disrupt anything of an electromagnetic nature. She can generate masking effects, rendering herself and others invisible to human senses and undetectable to electronic surveillance. She can also produce offensive disruptor effects, either through contact with her body or as energy blasts from her eyes. Phantazia can scramble the function of electronics or computers, causing them to shut down or go completely haywire. Using her power against a living opponent, her effect can cause intense pain, make them lose the coordination of their body, and cause their special powers, if any, to become unstable, such as making Cannonball's blast field protection unreliable or causing Sleepwalker's warp vision to spray out of control. Some fun facts. Phantazia debuted in the early 90s during the early X-Force days as the token female in the Toad's Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. She's definitely a science nerd and very tech-savvy, which accounts for her fine control over her power. She lost her powers on M-Day, but later reappeared on Krakoa back in her Phantazia form, having undergone Crucible presumably. Katu. Katu's mutant power is the ability to act as a conduit for ambient electromagnetic fields, allowing him to siphon electromagnetic energy in his environment and convert it into devastating blasts of energy. This power only works on ambient energy levels, and so cannot allow him to drain energy from machinery or bioblasts. His power also disrupts the natural alignment of energy fields in his immediate area, causing quote-unquote inter-atmospheric anomalies, aka bad weather. Now mind you, he cannot control the weather, but activating his power can scramble natural weather patterns to create freak storms and counterbalance existing climate conditions. It also creates a blanket of electromagnetic white noise, scrambling communications over a wide area. Some fun facts. Katu was an Inuit fisherman with a family living in a village. He didn't know it at the time, but he was a mutant and his power was causing satellite disruptions in Russia. So the Russian army, they sent Arkady Rusevich, aka Omega Red, to deal with the problem. Rusevich and the army slaughtered the village, including Katu's whole family, and then subdued Katu. Red, he used his tendrils to rip Katu's arms off to prevent any further interference. And Red, look at this right here, he's a total asshole. He even told Katu, "Look at it like this, you'll never have to worry about frostbite, hee hee." Then the Russians took him in and gave him cybernetic arms, or arm to be more accurate. And Katu's bitterness over the whole ordeal and his anger towards Omega Red is what led him to join the Acolytes. Berzerker. Berzerker possesses the mutant ability to absorb and redirect energy from the electromagnetic spectrum. The plenitude of ambient electromagnetic waves makes it difficult to conclude whether Berzerker needs a constant source of energy to manipulate, or if he charges himself over time, storing energy to rechannel at his leisure. But he is able to project electromagnetic blasts that carry a concussive force and explosive effect and can disrupt electronic functions. While a mild electromagnetic burst can temporarily disrupt computers or electromagnetic locks, a major burst could render circuitry totally fried and useless. Berzerker could also use his power as a form of thrust and at least limited flight, and he can also scan for different wavelengths of electromagnetic output, tracking power sources and picking up on TV and radio signals. It was also shown that Berzerker could translate these signals, visually projecting television images and broadcasting sounds from TV or radio for others to hear. Some fun facts. Berzerker was a member and leader of the Tunnelers, an offshoot group of the Morlocks who hated the main group, referring to them as Drain Dwellers. Berzerker died during the Mutant Massacre crossover courtesy of Cyclops, and like Katu, he was last seen resurrected for Necrosha. Alright, before we get into a little bit of a power comparison, let's get some facts about what electromagnetic and electromagnetism and all that good stuff is. Electromagnetism is a fundamental force of the universe. It is the interaction between electric currents and magnetic fields, and it plays a role in everyday devices like fans, doorbells, induction cookers, and electric motors. These electromagnets convert electrical signals into magnetism, enabling the operation of numerous appliances. Now, the electromagnetic spectrum is the range of all types of electromagnetic radiation. Now, radiation is energy that travels and spreads out as it goes. The visible light that comes from your lamp in your house and the radio waves that come from a radio station are two types of electromagnetic radiation. The other types of electromagnetic radiation that make up the electromagnetic spectrum are microwaves, infrared light, ultraviolet light, X-rays, and gamma rays. The Earth's magnetic field, the magnetosphere, that's the region around a planet that is dominated by the planet's magnetic field, is a natural electromagnetic field. Now, mutants such as Magneto and Polaris, they can manipulate magnetism and other electromagnetic forces in a variety of ways. And like the three mutants in question, they all possess a sensitivity to electromagnetic field distortions and manipulations by other sources. As a fundamental force, electromagnetism has several applications. Electricity and magnetism are inherently linked, so electrical currents creates magnetic fields, and the reverse is also true. For example, the Spider-Man villain Electro, he can technically levitate metal trucks, and Magneto can create electricity, but only as side effects of their main power set. And the difference between the wavelength and frequency of electromagnetic waves creates the electromagnetic spectrum, everything from radio waves to gamma rays. And as a species, we've also created technology to send signals along electromagnetic waves, like radio on radio waves and other electromagnetic transmissions. And so, there are a number of different avenues from which a mutant power set can interact with electromagnetism in more limited ways, either due to their X gene or lack of experience with the limits of their ability. Katu, he's more similar to Siena Blaze, in that they both absorb energy from the Earth's electromagnetic field to redirect it for their purposes, but it's enough to devastate it. For example, the environment is radically disturbed by their aggressive rearrangement of electromagnetic forces, causing violent electromagnetic implosions or explosions as the electromagnetic field reverts to equilibrium, often creating fires, volatile weather patterns, or permanent scars in the ozone layer or magnetosphere of the planet. But it's unknown if Katu could similarly levitate or manipulate the Earth's EM field to teleport himself. Berzerker, he had the whole electromagnetic spectrum literally at his fingertips, and he was able to perceive radio and television signals, but mainly used his power offensively as devastating discharges. Now, Phantazia, she's easily the most versatile of the three. Now, most of the molecules in the human body interact weakly with electromagnetic fields in the radio frequency and extremely low frequency bands, which would account for how she can disrupt bodily systems. But Phantazia can also fly, conceal herself and others from anything with an electromagnetic system, disrupt superhuman powers, and project electromagnetic energy. Also, it's worth noting that in her civilian identity, her eyes are constantly emitting electromagnetic energy, indicating that she is bristling with the EM energy. As stated previously, she can partially convert her body into an electromagnetic form, and it's possible that she really is just electromagnetic energy, but holding onto a human body out of habit. Alright, Shackhousers, that's what I got for you this week. I'm going to be doing something slightly different next week. Not a power comparison, but more of a countdown of favorite moments. Tune in then, and I hope you have a good week. Later!
Mansion, apartment.
Shack house. Yes!